What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, I'm going to break down some very important information about SPY and talk about a very important level to watch for. I'm also going to talk about why this level is going to dictate whether or not this thing crashes or if this thing is going to try to get one final bounce. Now, before I break anything down about what the technicals are suggesting and this super important level to watch for going into next week, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Deposit $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks with the $100 cash reward. Offer ends in 7 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So on SPY, things are not looking that great as this thing did close below both the 50 and the 200 EMAs. And for now, we were making an attempt to get this breakout today, and we ended up just failing from there. So seeing this, the trend is now favoring the bears a bit more. In my video from yesterday, I was predicting that the market would try to hold up, and I thought we could see the market try to pump this thing up, but they ended up just not doing it. And the bears had a lot more control after the hawkish things that Jerome Powell said. And I also broke down the more bull and bear cases so you guys were prepared for anything just to be safe. And the bearish cases ended up playing out. We didn't drop like insanely hard. We're only down like 0.7%, but there is going to be confirmation of a bigger drop that could be coming very soon. I just want to warn you guys about that. So currently on the 4-hour SPY is looking more bearish. There's no true sign of this thing getting a strong bounce. It tried to do it yesterday. It just ended up failing. This is like a false breakout. And it is what it is. Sometimes things like this could happen, but that's the reason why I go over both the bull and the bear cases. But here's what I'm starting to see. As this thing is starting to downtrend, the next major important level is going to be 430. And when you zoom out of the chart like this, right? I'm going to go on TradingView for this part. You could look at the chart like this and see that there's this uptrend that's been respected on SPY. You can draw your trend line like this to get as many touches as possible where this support is right here, right? You can see we were bouncing off it like here and then here. We came below it temporarily, but then got a bounce off the 200. Came back, we bounced off of it, and now we're about to test this trend line. And this trend line is very, very close to this 430 area. Now, why is this so important? Well, if we come down, right? If this thing starts to break to the downside, there are two possibilities as to how this is going to play out. We're either going to see this thing, so right here, let me actually make this bigger. Just give me 1 second. Just like this. So this thing is either going to be, trying to like push up a little bit, then come right back down. And if we come to this 430 area, we are either going to see this thing attempt to bounce and then just continue to pump from there. That would be like the more bull case. If 430 tries to hold, we could just continue to ride this trend line for an extended period of time. Or if that's not the case, right, this would be like the more bullish case. If this does not play out, if we break below 430, things could get ugly from there. So I'm going to change this to green because that would be like the more bullish case. But here's the problem. As the market has these like bearish outcomes that are developing, I want to remind you guys that we have a lot of catalysts for next week again. And I actually spoke too soon about what I said about Jerome Powell, unfortunately. So for Monday, there's not much coming out. For Tuesday, there's some data involving consumer confidence. But for Wednesday, I didn't see this coming. For Wednesday, Jerome Powell is going to be speaking again, and he's going to be speaking 2 times. So right as the market opens, Powell is going to be giving a speech on Wednesday. I don't know why this guy keeps talking so much. He's going to be back again. And you saw what happened to the market as this guy was speaking. The market started selling off. Then, again, during the nighttime, he's going to be giving another speech, late at night, actually. And then what he says, it's going to once again affect how the market moves for Thursday as we have GDP numbers coming out as well. Who knows what this guy's going to say at the nighttime? I mean, it's just ridiculous how much he's going to be speaking again. And then for Friday, we have PCE coming out. So that's going to be very important. It's going to be for the month of May. So just get ready. That's going to be very impactful for how the market moves. Core PCE may be a little hot, but I'm pretty confident that PCE itself is going to be pretty decent. So if Powell is like speaking next week, let's just say like the bad news happens, Powell says not the best of things, there's a possibility that we could see SPY break down like this and end up breaking below the trend line. If this happens, okay, we have some support right at gap support around this like 425 area, but it's likely not going to hold us. In that case, if it does break below this like 430 support right around this trend line right here, we're going to likely see this thing break down like this and eventually make its way down to fill this gap. And then it's going to be testing this previous support. And then if it's going to be completing a potential like head and shoulders like pattern, you could argue that, whoops, let's get this to close. You could argue there's one like right here for like a left shoulder, the head and the potential right shoulders develop. We're going to be watching this thing come potentially all the way down to like 420 or so, maybe a little bit lower than that. That's also a possibility. I'm not too worried about it dropping much lower than that because it's also going to be based off fib retracements and where algos buy. But let's not worry too much about 420 just yet until we actually get closer to it. For now, we're going to be worried more about the 430 support right now. That's going to be the major thing holding this thing up. If it fails us, we're going to likely come closer to about 420. 422, I believe, is where this gap is going to be taking us, this unfilled gap, which is where I think SPY would go to if it breaks. And it could drop even lower than that, but that's going to depend on other factors as well. There's another gap way down here at like 411. I don't know if it's going to drop that hard, but it is a possibility. So we have to be open-minded if we get some kind of catalyst to cause that. For now, we don't have a major catalyst to cause the market to tank that hard, but things could change in a couple of weeks. So for now, right, we don't want to get way too ahead of ourselves, right? We don't want to talk about like SPY going to like 460 instantly or SPY crash to like 410 instantly. We're very far from that. So it does not make sense to be talking about too many low levels. And we just need to look at the next important level, which is going to be this 430 area. If we break 430, expect more downside or rug pull. It's going to turn very bearish. If we manage to bounce off of it, there is potential for the market to hold up and continue to, push. I'm leaning in the direction right now that as we approach earnings, either like as we approach earnings, because we're getting very close to the earnings cycle, or maybe during earnings, that's when this thing could start breaking down. Not a guarantee though, so I'm not as confident, but I do believe that the odds are favoring a test at 430 very, very soon. I think it's very likely it's going to be tested, and we're just gonna have to wait and see which direction it breaks in terms of confirmation. All right. So that's basically what I'm seeing for SPY. I mean, once again, if Jerome Powell once again says more hawkish things on Wednesday, I'm still not sure why he's speaking again. He already gave so many speeches, said so much at the testimonies. He's going to be speaking again 2 times, by the way, on Wednesday. He could cause another rug pull in the markets, a bigger one. So, got to be careful, right? And he's intentionally doing this. He's trying to bring the market down. It is what it is. And there's not really much else for me to say about him at this point. I mean, I've been speaking so much about him for the past week. It's pretty ridiculous, but we just have to deal with it. It's all part of the market. So for next week, just watch those levels carefully. As far as SPY goes on this chart, there's a possible head and shoulders developing now, and it is looking weaker, but we're going to be watching 430 for that major confirmation of the bigger rug pull. There's still a lot of opportunity in this market to be like trading it and to do a lot of things. So don't really worry too much about like trying to FOMO in or try to like chase any opportunities. It's best to just be patient and let the charts tell you and do what you have to do what's best for your own portfolios. I'm going to, I'm going to end the video from here. I don't really want to talk too much about other tickers for the time being. And I will talk more about everything else by Sunday evening, for you guys. So just be ready for Sunday when I speak more about every single ticker out there that you're probably interested in. And until then, I will see you guys very, very soon for the next video. Thank you for listening. Have a good one, guys. Mark you to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright. And peace out.